Has the thought of downsizing intimidated you? You know that you really need to make a change, but you just don't know where to start, and you're scared, confused, or just hesitant to even know how to begin. Well, take a look at this video that we have coming up here and give you some steps, 5 steps, to be able to maybe start the process of figuring out how to downsize. When we're talking about downsizing, we're talking about making a change of your primary residence where you've been living maybe for many years. You have a lot of things in the home and you're trying to determine where's the best place to go. One of the things you want to do first is you want to have an understanding of what's the reason for the downsizing. Understand the reason for downsizing and have an agreement. Not only among yourself and maybe your significant other, but maybe with other people who are involved in the process, namely probably your children or those that care about you. So what's the reason for this? Is it financial? Is it health? Do you have a desire to be closer to family? Is it all of those? Some of those? So have a discussion. What's really driving this? What's the reason? What's the importance of this? You want to have an honest conversation with your loved ones. Discuss why this is a necessary next step. And this is actually maybe a discussion that is initiated by the children, the sons and daughters of the person that is thinking about downsizing. So this could be a message for you yourself as a downsizer, somebody that's retired and looking for that next place, or it could be a video for a daughter or a son, has a mother, a father, or parents who you want to have an understanding about how to get them to think about making a downsize. And maybe this video would be a good one to send to them. So discuss why this is a necessary next step and assess the pros and cons of downsizing or making a move. Consider the reasons directing the action and talk candidly about whether or not now is the right time to start this process. The conversation can start early. The action doesn't need to start until later. But you want to have some dialogue going on. You have some entertaining of some ideas. You may have certain thoughts about one approach, and maybe your parents have another idea about a different approach. Maybe you're thinking about a certain thing, but maybe finances are going to limit that. Maybe health is going to limit that. Maybe other siblings you have maybe have different ideas. You need to start with a conversation. And they may be difficult. They may not always have outcomes that maybe you have in mind. But I suggest you start having those conversations and think about everybody's perspective and what is going to be important and most beneficial to the people we're talking about, the people we love. The people either you yourself are downsizing or a parent that we're thinking about downsizing. So the reason may vary among families, but some of the most common reasons include maintenance of the home and trying to keep up with the everyday chores of taking care of a home. You know that that's always a challenge, even when you are younger and fitter and have more resources and monies available. Taking care of a house can also take up more time than you like and usually take more money than you like. And as you get older, sometimes these maintenance elements of a home start getting ahead of you and you can't necessarily keep up. And the house starts decreasing in, not only just in value, but say decreasing in its upkeep. Even if a senior has a spouse or a partner or a family nearby, they still may need help with the gardening, the minor home repairs. We start getting into meal prep and housekeeping. So is the home starting to become more than what can be maintained by the occupants? Another reason is cost of living. Housing costs have a way of continuing to creep up between heating and cooling of the home and the utilities, from the property taxes involved with the property, the maintenance costs involved with the property, and some of those start eating away at the retirement savings. And the home at this point in time in most people's lives probably has a considerable amount of equity to it, in which that is a resource or availability of resources that can be used in other ways if converted into cash. So we have to look at what the cost of living is. And as we know, the smaller the space, and depending upon where you go, the less cost of living that you may have, the less you have to spend on utilities or property taxes, and the upkeep is greatly reduced. Another reason is health issues. As people start getting older, they start having issues with mobility. They have different physical abilities. They have degradation of vision, of hearing, and they have other medical needs that may be important to get them closer to the resources that can tend to those needs, whether or not it's family members nearby or maybe senior living communities or assisted living communities in which they can provide some of those additional health services on campus or on site, in which somebody doesn't need to drive to or schedule an appointment from. We're seeing more and more of that, and so you have to take into consideration, is that one of the reasons for this move? One of the things I would say is that, and we'll get into this coming up on the timing, is that you want to have a good understanding of all of this before it's really needed. So we talk about what is the timing of this, number 2. Okay, can this be phased in, or is there more urgency? We can tell you from personal experience, it is much easier to make decisions before they actually have to be implemented, when people can think clearly, when emotions are less involved, when we're not under some level of duress or stress because some emergency is taking place, and you're having to make decisions without having all the information. You cannot start these discussions too soon, but I can tell you that you can have these discussions too late. Okay, so when we talk about the timing, can this be phased in, or is there more urgency? So there's no perfect time to begin the downsizing process, but retirement is usually one of the most common times. It's usually the life event of which people start planning on where their next living is going to be, either in the same geography and a different type of housing, or in a whole new geography. Moving down maybe where the weather is nicer. Maybe there's people that of your age group. Maybe many of your friends have moved away or passed away. You're looking to get connected with some people maybe of your own generation. Maybe you want to move somewhere near family. So all this is when this is going to take place. And if you can do that before the actual needs start becoming more and more pressing, if you start having to worry about the money or the maintenance, or your health is deteriorating rapidly, you're not going to be able to make the best decisions. So you start thinking about that ahead of time. It could be a couple of years ahead of time, but you want to start laying out a plan. So I want to have the lines of communication open, have a clear and concise goal of when you want to take this place. What's going to be the demarcating event? Is it a time? Is it a certain person's stage of their life or their health? Is it maybe when you have a couple that are together and one of them passes on, or one of them is requiring extra health needs? Is that going to be the decision point of which then you make the move? So start having those conversations. So you want to be able to, you want to do this before the overwhelming emotions take over, because now all of a sudden urgency is one of the factors. No one ever makes great decisions when they have to make them quickly. And getting the other family members involved and helping them understand and be supportive is going to be very, very helpful in helping everybody adjust to the change. Number 3 to consider, what are the options for where you're going to go? Is it fully independent living? Is there phased dependence as you age? Is it in a 55 plus community or standalone property? How does that fit into the time frame? What are the costs, initial and ongoing? You want to consider the following details of your senior's new home, whether it's yours or you're doing something for your parents. What are the amenities? What specific requests do your loved one have? Do they have physical needs or security measures that are going to be important for them? You're going to have to plan a space around these new accommodations. What about the size? If they're going from a 4-bedroom home into a studio apartment or a 2-bedroom condo, there's going to be a lot of downsizing required. You get to make the adjustment about what they're going to be able to take and what they're not going to be able to take, and how you're going to take care of the possessions that no longer will be able to fit in this new location. So understanding how to prioritize what's going to be important to take along and how to fit it in there, and how to make room for the things that directly affect and influence their daily routine. The more that you can try to reduce the impact of the lifestyle change and the change to their habits, the happier and more comfortable you're going to be, in the long run. There's going to be change. There's going to be an adjustment. That's just a fact. But how can you do this in a manner that's going to be less impactful and less disruptive, and allows them to make a accommodation and learn how to live in this new space quicker and be less resistant to it? You have to think about storage. Is there a realistic space for storage for everything that they want to keep? Personal documents, oversized items, or other belongings that may not be able to fit into a smaller place. Do you have another place in which those could be kept or stored? Or are they going to be distributed among family members, or given away, or donated, or sold, or thrown away? Number 4 to consider is what finances are available. Well, saving money being one of the goals, because you're going to try to reduce the amount of monthly expenses, and increase the cash flow. Selling the home may result in some extra monies available. That could be used for a buy-in into an assisted living facility. It could be used to purchase a new home or a new living place, cash hopefully, and not require any kind of mortgage. Is there going to be sufficient income in which the rest can be put away and just bolster and boost the retirement nest egg? So understanding what monies are going to be available, what finance are going to be available that may be required and maybe over above what the current home can provide. Do those monies exist? Not only in the one-time fees, but also are there monies available for the ongoing monthly needs of the person that's making this move? If your current home isn't paid off, a new home with a lower monthly mortgage payment can maybe give your budget room to breathe. Maybe you try to figure out a way in which you don't have to have a mortgage, because that's probably less pressure for you then. So you're trying to figure out how we're going to be able to save money. And do you have the monies available to not only live where you're going to want to live, but are you going to have extra money to be able to maybe take a vacation, go visit the grandchildren, or finance somebody's education for the future? This needs to be worked through, and this needs to be part of the discussions that you have, not only with your significant other, but with your children as well, so that everybody has a good picture of how we're going to make this work. We need to understand there are going to be constraints. Where are those constraints, and how do we figure out ways to overcome them, if they can be overcome? All of this is intended to try to create a place in which the personal needs can be met, the health needs can be met, the social needs can be met, the family needs can be met, and the financial needs can be met. And we're all working towards all of those being put together. Number 5 is, this is something you don't need to do alone. There are many groups, companies, service providers who provide services along helping seniors downsize and move into their next location. They're very experienced at both the emotional aspect and the financial aspect, and understanding what may be best for somebody that may have some health needs. They can help you identify the right location, the right facility. They can help with organizing the personal possessions, what is going to come with the move and what is going to stay or get sold. They can help with identifying the other professionals you may need. You may need real estate professionals to help with selling the primary residence. You may need movers. You may need to have connections with people in other parts of the country so you can facilitate a cross-country type of move. There are professionals that do this all of the time, and they can think about the things that you maybe haven't thought about. And they can ask the questions of you that maybe you haven't thought about yourself, and try to provide answers for you so that you're not going into this trying to figure it out all by yourself. Use the help of professionals. Pay the money that they may charge in order for you to have the best options and information so you can make the best decisions. They can lay out a plan and work out the best way to help you with this. Most of the objections we get from people who are making a move is they don't know how to start. Okay? They don't know how to begin. These professionals can help you with that process, can start you thinking about how we're going to make the move, what is available to you, what's possible, how they're going to help you do this, so that you can overcome that first objection. I don't know how to start. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know how much it's going to cost. All of these unknowns can be worked through and made more known to you so that you have more understanding of what's possible. One thing you can also do is you can stay where you're at. You can age in place, but you're going to have to also see if where you are is going to accommodate your goals. Can you afford to stay where you are? Does the floor plan of your home accommodate maybe the changes you have in your mobility or in your health? Is where you are now close to the people you need to be close to? Whether it's family members, healthcare providers, other friends you may have from the past that you want to get closer to? Can your home be modified to be able to accommodate the changes that may be taking place? Do you have the money to make those accommodations? If you change the current home to accommodate your needs, when you move on, is that going to be difficult for your heirs to be able to sell because it's been modified so drastically that it may not find a buyer that's going to appeal to the changes you've made? So you can stay where you're at, but you're going to have to answer the same questions that are being asked of you when you want to make a move. And you have to say, is my home going to be able to accommodate all the things that I want it to? Yes, it's what I know. Yes, it's all paid for. But in the long run, is really the best place to be. So I hope this has been helpful. Take a look and look again. And you know what? You may find that this video resonates with you, but maybe it'll resonate with somebody you know, or maybe it resonates with a parent you may have, and that you want to share this and let them maybe come to their own realization. Not coming from you, but coming from somebody independent, but is saying the same things that you've probably been saying to them and other people have been saying to them, but they have ignored. Think about sending that off to them. As always, we appreciate a like and a subscribe, and give us your comments down below if there's anything else that we can help you with. Have a great day.